You have jail, you have prison, and you have federal prison. These are three different places with three different times that you have to have. All three of them takes you away from your family, and all three of them have their own different pitfalls in life. In jail, you're in a county. You're locked up by county officers. You're around people in the county. And when you're in your county, the people that's in your city, y'all are like grouped up from neighborhoods. Like people in the same neighborhoods usually hang together and rock together. That's just like your clique. Now, when you go to prison, that's by state. So usually people that's in the same cities, they wreck together. Like each city is against each other. Like, you got your own cities, that's the group, that's the clique, that's the people that you hang with. And prison is after you get your time, you're shipped off from jail, then you go to prison. That's when you start doing your time. Prison time is much easier than jail time because you get more game time when you're in prison. Plus, it's more activities and stuff for you to do. In jail, you mostly sitting around in a bunk or, just sit out in the day room waiting to go to court. Then you have federal prison. Federal prison, like the level 7 penitentiary, is the granddaddy of them all. Federal prison, you have so many things to do because people have so much time to do. But when you're in federal prison, inmates are separated by states. So whatever state you're from, that's your car, that's your group, that's the people that you hang with. So it's a lot different with politics in the federal prison as well. Say like somebody has a problem with the next person, you just can't go and handle your problems one-on-one. It's like a whole group situation. See, one person can mess it up for a whole state in federal prison. But like in the county jail, a lot of times people see people that they've had beef with or problems with. And in state, it's a little bickering between the cities. But fed, it can cause a whole war, a whole riot, a whole distribution, a whole car to be sent up top. And when I say I cause a whole car to get sent up top, I mean I've seen it where a situation happened between a couple of people from a certain city or a certain state, got into it with another state, and everybody from that state had to go to protective custody. Jail consists of a lot of people sitting there probably waiting to get bailed out. Or you also have a lot of people with misdemeanor crimes that just got a couple days to do and they get back out right there. Like a lot of people not facing much time. People that's really facing a lot of time in jail, sometimes they put them in the hole or put them in 2301, which is 23 lockdown with an hour out because they're a hazard to other inmates. And once you go to court, if you get a lot of time, they don't even bring you back to the damn jail. They go ahead and send you on off to the prison in which you going to just so you don't become a hazard and hurt somebody. Also, jail life and prison life are completely different because you have people in jail, which are called trustees, who Junebug and shoe shuffle and do everything for the police and like try to do extra stuff so they don't have to get locked down in their cell. Which, if they was in prison, that'd be a big no-no, and one of them probably get injured real seriously because in prison, you're not supposed to talk or bicker or conversate with the police officers. That's just like a no-no. That's the difference between an inmate and a convict. See, in jail, most of the people in there are drug addicts that's reformed, trying to get extra food trays and everything. But in prison, that's when you buckle down to do your time, and it's called convict time and inmate time. Inmate time is a person that's there that's doing time that makes it hard for other people. A convict is there that makes his time the best way, and he don't get other people involved with his time. Also, convict time is, officer, you here to do your job, I'm here to do what I got to do. You leave me alone, I leave you alone. I don't make your job harder, you don't make my stay harder in here. So prison, you can get like education, you can get like degrees, like they have jobs and everything, but the difference between the state prison and the federal prison is like the money wise. Like when you work in a state prison, you only get like $1 a day. But when I was in the federal prison, you got some jobs that you get like $1 an hour. Like they have Unicore. People actually pay their child support because you get paid monthly up there. Some people get between $400 to $700 a month working Unicor. Like I worked as a grade 1 cook in the federal prison. I used to make $230 a month plus daily pay. And when I say daily pay, it means my hustle. See, when you're locked up, the best thing for you to do is get you a hustle so you can find a way to make income. Only a person that cannot make income and can't hustle is a sad sack of shit, because you can't depend on people out there in the world all the time because they have to live their life without you. I've seen it all though. I was in a level 7 maximum security prison, so I've seen people make their hustle. I've seen people that just give up, turn to women, prison women basically. I seen people rob, steal. I used to get drinking. We used to get high up in there. I've seen people just rape other people, hurt officers. I've seen it all. And I just feel like I just go ahead and share my stories online as well, because, I went through it, so I can give y'all the gist of what I went through so y'all don't have to go through it. Plus, some of the stories were entertaining, and that's what we're here for, entertainment. But the biggest difference between jail and prison, I say, is jail is a time stretcher. Like when you're in jail, your time goes by so slow. But when you're in prison, your time flies by because basically you're on the street living your life. You just don't have all the amenities and all the freedoms that you got out on the street. Like you don't have your family and your woman and stuff like that. But everything else, like you can get drugs, you can get drinks, you can get food. Like you got certified chefs in there. You got people that's making moonshine in there. People that gets the drugs in from the visitations. And sometimes, you pay an officer to bring stuff in. Like it's money to be made. And in the state prison, they got a little hustle, but it's not as much money as the state prison as it is in Fed. Like when I was in state prison, they was living off the stamps because, it was on cigarettes, but cigarettes got took off the market. But they was going off stamps, and they was like 1 2 3 stamps. Whereas in Feds, it was books of stamps. Like a book of stamps is like $9, $7, $8. You got $7, $8, $9, and $10 books of stamps. Whereas in state prison, they had stamps like you had singles that was like quarters. But some people get bitched out in there. Some people go the hobo route. But I just say you are what you are. Some people try to act like they come to prison to be gay. No, some people just have it in them. Or some people are just beta males and they just want somebody to protect them. And that's all that is. If you wasn't a real gangster, then don't act like you was a real gangster, because in prison, what you put out is what you're going to get back. If you a quiet, chill dude, then people are not going to bother you. Be a chill person. But if you come with that rah-rah shit, it's always somebody that's going to bring that rah-rah to you. And one thing I can say, if a motherfucker try your manhood, no matter what, if you want to stay a man, you going to have to go ahead and fight and do what you got to do. Even if you lose the fight, because they respect the fact that you do fight. And if you don't fight, then you become fair game. And it's crazy, you can't really feel sorry for a person or feel sympathy for a person there, because it's not like we got in there for being good or being nice. Most people in there for doing shit wrong. And most people was the man where they come from. But that's the great thing about the prison, because it's the biggest equalizer. It takes all the roughest men from their different part and put them all together just to see who's really the most dominant. And a lot of people that was dominant where they're from become beta when they get to where everybody else is at. I appreciate y'all for tuning into my channel and watching this. I just said that I'm going to have to break down the difference between jail and prisons for y'all before we get started on this journey. And on this journey, I'm going to break down the stories that I had in jail, some of the ones I had in prison. Some may be graphic, but this is real life, real things that really happened. And stuff that I see, and the stuff that I had to go through, because I made my prison time a lot harder. I could have came home sooner, but I was on inmate time for once, and I was stretching out my time doing shit that I shouldn't have did. But I was young. Like I went to youth prison. They call that gladiator school. All we did in youth prison was fight all the time. Gang bang and fight, and that's all we used to do. But you got young kids going through puberty, the testosterone is raging. Of course they gonna fight. Officers used to gamble on the fights and everything, but now I'm outside and I'm succeeding in life. And I just hope my son don't have to go through the things that I went through. And I just hope that somebody might can hear one of my stories and understand that it's not all what it cracked up to be. Like, the street life is great, but it's also two sides of that coin. And one side of that coin is you dead. The other side, you could spend the rest of your life in prison. I was blessed by God not to have to spend the rest of my life in prison, but also doing that much time in prison, it also scars you mentally. And that's what they say a person's institutionalized. Like, a lot of things that I do is because I got a habit from being in prison. And I try to break the habit sometimes, but some things are embedded in you once you do a lot of time. But the next video be a lot more interesting, but I was just breaking down the difference between jails and prisons first. So whenever I give a story out, you already know the difference of what the format is and where we at. Thank you and goodbye.